Yes.
MOVE, I gotta make a move quick. Hustle on my blood and all my movements. He's a dog, readjusting who I move with. MOVE, I had to make a move split. Hustle on my blood and all my movements. MOVE.
Wow, you were here first yesterday and you're here first today too. Cool, alright. You're not like waiting every evening, right? Wait. Right. Hello, Sun, Janice, Kim, Sparkle, Ming. How's everyone doing this evening? We're here. We have a very, very short stream today. It's gonna be we're probably gonna finish in half an hour. We're just here just so we can, later on I can say that I streamed today. That's pretty much why we're here. Jung, Tomato, Malangnim, Minion, Artie, Jelly, RM. You're here almost every day these days. What do you mean? It says, oh, you did? Yeah, I wasn't on Discord today, but yeah, actually, I wasn't gonna stream because I was trying to figure out some stuff, and I spent pretty much the entire day, like since this morning. I almost never left this room since this morning, like all day today. I didn't even take my dogs out today. And so I was so stressed out of my mind, and I was almost certain that I wouldn't stream, but I just came online because I wanted to prove myself wrong. I wanted to prove myself, no matter how much you don't wanna, if you do it, you can do it, and later on you can feel proud about that. And so that's kind of why we're here. But we're only here for about half an hour, okay? We're starting at 9 as usual, but we're only going to do about half an hour, maybe an hour, depending on how quickly or how slow we go through the list of expressions that I have for you today. It's just a list of expressions that I have, random expressions that I have. It doesn't necessarily fit into a dialogue that we usually have for our streams, but we're just gonna burn through these expressions, and I think it's gonna take at the longest like half an hour probably. So yeah, good evening everybody. Kim, I was caught by Professor because I did my homework in class. Oh, okay. Well, that happens, right? It's not too bad. Kiko, how are you? How you doing? Yeah, half an hour today. Half an hour. I was this close to not streaming tonight, but here we are. Hey Jenny, how's it going? Kelly, Hillary, good evening. Chris, Song, Sparkle. I started with your another video today, so that's cool. Okay. Yeah, it's good to see you again. How you doing today, YG? How you doing today? Hedge. Sounds great, yeah. Good girl. Hi there, good evening. Yeah, good evening to you too. How you doing tonight? I'm doing alright. How are you? Hey mate, what's up? What's going on? How's it going? Hello there. Hello there to you too. Doing great? Just doing my best. Hey, what's up? Hello, hi, welcome to the stream. It's nice to see everybody. It's going okay. How are things with you? Hi, hello to you too. How you doing tonight? Doing okay and kind of busy today. Yeah, that's good. Keeping yourself busy. I think that's never a bad thing. If you're busy, if you had a very busy day, you had a good day. Just tell yourself that. It's always good to have something to do. And if you had to do something because of someone else. Let's say that you had to do so much shit because of someone else, not necessarily for you. Do you know what that's called? That's called life. That's life. If you spent an entire day because of someone else, doing things that you don't want to do for someone else, that's called life. That's life, guys. That's life. Yeah, good evening. Hi. Just done sold your shirt. Oh, cool. Okay. Thought you're we're going to do a live stream. Oh, you knew. You had a feeling, yeah? Okay. I think it's crazy how you come up with new dialogue and such a good expression. I spend quite a lot of time putting those together, and they're not all good. I know for a fact that they're not all good. I'm very unhappy with some of the ones that I've done in the past. Even some of the dialogues in the book that I published last year. When I look at it now, although I don't really look at it that often now, looking back at it, there are a number of things that I wish I had done differently. But it is what it is. You can never come up with anything perfect. So. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's life. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. I'll try. Yeah, happy to see you guys. I mean, I'm already making myself feel happy. I gotta remember this. Like, no matter how bad of a day I have, if I come online and talk to you guys, I'll know that it was the right thing to do. It was a good move. It was a smart move because it always cheers me up to a certain extent. I'm watching a baseball game on TV. Oh, okay. You'll be back at 9. All right. Okay. All right. Enjoy. Well, it was more of a, kind of defeating myself kind of thing. I was so close to. I actually there was this point in time when I decided I wasn't gonna stream. So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna stream tonight. I'm just too stressed out. And then another part of me said, what? But you're gonna let yourself do that like that? You're just gonna lose? You're gonna give up? And I thought, no, I'm not gonna do that. So, but I didn't want to get into anything too intense in terms of like what we covered during the stream. And so we're just gonna go over a set of expressions. Now when we put them together, when we line them up, okay, when we line up these expressions, it may actually sound and feel like a dialogue, like a conversation, and it could, we could look at it that way, but it's not necessarily a dialogue. We're just going to go through a list of expressions. They're very closely related in terms of how and when they are used and what they mean, and what they are referring to. But I didn't really picture this as a kind of a single, flowing dialogue. So 30 minutes. Yeah, we're going for a 30-minute chat. We've never done a stream for only half an hour, right? I spent most of my morning watching yesterday. Wow, that's pretty unbelievable. Why would you put yourself through that sort of suffering? Hey mate, good to see. Yeah, good to see. Okay, I guess that's not for me, I guess. How are you all doing? How are you all doing? Do we need that? I guess we don't necessarily. What is that USB there? So, you like the small talk before the class? Well, we never really talk about anything that interesting, do we? I mean, occasionally we have something interesting that we talk about, but we don't, like, we don't really ever talk about anything that important. But interesting nonetheless. Yeah, I enjoy it too. If I'm being honest, I enjoy this part of the stream much more than what we do actually when we get into the main part of the stream. However, I think having that main part of the stream where we focus on something, something specific, is actually the reason why this part of the stream is just that much more enjoyable, because it's very limited and it's, you know, because we do it for a limited amount of time, right? And so that might actually be the very reason that it's so enjoyable. Just life things, you know, that's the, yeah, I hope you get to say yourself, I'm glad I chose to live. I already do feel that way, actually, because I'm immediately feeling a boost of energy just looking at looking at the chat right now and reading your comments and just talking to you guys. It's just making me feel a lot better. 영어의 원어원쌤이 이런 현지에서 진행하는 거 어떻게 보고 있는데 시체 때문에 30분 정도 오케이. 쌤은 일주일에 몇 번 2시간 이상 저희를 위해 that's great. Okay. Yeah, and I want to remind everyone else to do the same. You should never rely on one source. And you know, and what I mean by source is where you get your dose, your daily dose of English use. Okay, you should never rely on one source, and that source should, you know, like, it should never be like one person or one kind of stream, one sort of content, never one sort of platform. Just try to diversify it as much as you can. You got to try to experience English in many different ways. The more different ways, the better. I always feel awkward and don't know what to answer when someone asks me, how are you, or what's up. Just quickly say that you're doing good and just return the greeting. Just say, I'm doing fine, how you doing? That's it. That's it. Or if you feel like, you know, just briefly going through your day, what you did or what you didn't do, or, you know, just going through the like the key parts of your day, then you can do that really quickly if you want to. But my advice is, if you're not really comfortable answering that, if you're not really sure what to say, and that's kind of how I feel every time you guys ask me that. And so that's what I do. I quickly answer and I just return the greeting. I say, I'm doing okay. How you guys doing? Hello, Black Coffee. How you doing? This is like how I feel when foreigners ask what's up or something. Not much. What's up with you? What's going on with you? Yes. Just return it. The more I study, the more I like it. I thought it was weird how study can be fun. Well, you know, once you feel that it is fun and interesting, it's not really, you don't have to call it studying anymore, although you will see the effects of studying in a way, but, you know, you don't necessarily have to view it as studying. You're just using the language, right? So in USA, do people eat 족발? From what I understand, now I found out about this when I was in the military, because I was a Katusa, and I did my military service alongside a lot of U.S. military soldiers, and yes, they do. And they had at the dining facility inside the base, I think it was Thursday, if I remember correctly. Every Thursday was Soul Food Day, and Soul Food Day usually means food for African Americans, black people, basically. And they had pig feet. They had pig feet. Pig feet, fried chicken, and watermelon. Can you believe that? I thought, what the hell is this? But the pig feet was so greasy. It was so greasy. I don't know why it was like that. Yeah. It's actually not that cool. I should ask Bet, right? It's kind of courtesy. Well, you don't have to if you don't feel like it. I mean, even if it's rude not to ask back, if you don't feel like it, just don't do it. It's okay. I think, you know what? Life is too short to be kind to everybody. I think that's how I honestly feel. Life is way too short to be kind to everybody all the time. All right, just let yourself not be kind from time to time. It's cool. All right, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Nice to see you again too. How you doing? You're doing great. That's good to hear. Good to hear. What'd you do today? I'm working on improving my English skills with your videos. Okay, that sounds great. So how could I make it more productive? Should I watch just a few videos repeatedly? It's only gonna do you so much good if you if all you do is just watch the videos. If all you do is watch the videos, it's only going to do so much good for you. If you really want to make full use out of it, try to, because there are a lot of dialogues, and there are so many dialogues, so many more dialogues. I can see that you're not a member. Now, if you decide to support me and the channel as a member, you will unlock, like, how many videos are there right now? There are a lot, right? There are, like, what, more than 200? There are so many more videos if you decide to support me as a member. That is just, it's all there. And they're mostly dialogues. They're mostly dialogues, and when you have, anytime, I say this all the time, but anytime that you have a dialogue material, it's so convenient to practice with it, because you can actually pair up with someone else and go through the dialogue just over and over again, taking turns, changing roles, and that's really, really good exercise. So, no, but that would be really cool. But no, that's actually just, it's just the computer doing its thing. Yeah, well, it's not that amazing. It's just, you know, you apply for it, and if you're lucky, you get drafted, and that's pretty much it. But I want to be kind to people. Well, that's good, but not all the time, and not to everybody, right? I'm just saying, you know, all I'm saying is you should not feel obliged to be kind to everybody, okay? You shouldn't feel like you have to be kind to everybody. I mean, if you don't feel that way, that's fine. I'm just saying. I heard about the earthquake in San Diego a couple days ago. Did you feel it? Did I feel it? I was nowhere near San Diego. I can't even remember the last time I've been to San Diego. It's in California, right? Yes, that's all I know. There was an earthquake, a big one. How can we be nice to people? In what way? Just curious. How can we not be nice to people? Well, you know, just, I'm not saying like straight out mean, but just not, you know, not responding to those just typical social cues. You know, just not you know, going along this, you know, those very common social courtesies that we usually follow. Like when someone asks you, how are you? You answer, and then you return the greeting. You say, oh, I'm doing okay. How are you? A lot of Korean people don't do this because it's just not in our culture, I think. But, you know, Kiki님 was asking about that. So. 교도소에서 군사. Whoa, that's cool. Alright. 지금은 없어졌는데 예전에는 경비. Wow! That is awesome. Okay. Now that is seriously cool. I don't know why that is cool, but that is seriously cool. Oh yeah, time flies when you're watching my video. Really? That's hard to believe, but okay. I'll take that as a compliment. Big one. Big one? What do you mean big one? Couldn't be better. Thanks for asking. I'm living abroad. Okay, you're living abroad. It's usually tough to join your live stream on time, but I managed to make it. Oh, that's great. Okay, it's good to see you here. I feel like, is this your first time joining in the stream? No, it's not, right? Okay, it's good to see you again. We all hope to see you more often in the future. It's already 8:50, you guys. 10 to 9. We're gonna be starting in about 10 minutes. And I just want to remind everyone that today's stream is only going to be about half an hour. If we go on for like an hour, I would be actually very surprised, because I don't think it's gonna take even half an hour, because it's just 8 expressions, and one of them is not even an expression. It's just a word that is used that you might not be very familiar with. But the rest, and they're not very hard either. And a few of them we've already covered previously in other videos and streams, so it's not going to be that hard at all. We're just going to go over them, and it's more like a reminder, I guess, that, you know, hey, here are some useful expressions that you might want to use in certain situations, and we're just going to go over them today. My kids go to international school, which offers an English lesson for parents one a week. One English lesson per week, you mean? For parents. Okay, I've been attending that class, and your class really helps me. Oh, I got a question about asking about the way I study. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, cool. All right. Well, you should, Kelly, you should, whenever you get that question, you should say, it's not about how, it's about how much. Ultimately, repetition. That's what you, it's exactly what you should do. What did you do today? Jasneem asks, hi, what did you do today? I wasted a lot of time. I'm just, yeah. How about you? How about you? Well, I could say that I worked all day, but then it wasn't a very productive day. I didn't get much done. I wanted to, and so I kind of made it a point to just stay inside here, not leave this room for the entire day, and that I succeeded. But I didn't really get that much done because I had to deal with something really stupid that didn't work, that it wasn't working the way I intended. So, yeah, anyway. It's, not much. What's going on with you? The earthquake in a big one. Okay, a big earthquake. Okay. 8 expressions within such. Yeah. Because they all fall under the same category. So, yeah. And I'm sure most of you will have absolutely no trouble understanding, what the expression feels like and what it means and when we should use it, referring to what. And so it's not going to be that hard. Not at all. Yeah. I'm guessing like 15, 20 minutes. Isn't it such a cliche? What's cliche? Cliche is actually an adjective. It's not a noun. I went to school again, which really sucks. You went to school again. Okay. All right. Are you in college or university? What's your situation? I'm also wasting the most of the time, but I try to focus on work. Yeah, I guess, it's just one of those days, right? One of those days. I got up today feeling slightly better than normal, in terms of my condition. And so I thought, today's the day. Today's the day. I'm just going to focus and just get so much work done. And I was actually kind of excited. But then, yeah. I'm trying not to think about it. San Diego is a city in California. Yes, I know. I think I've been there once. I think I've been to SeaWorld in San Diego when I was very little. I have no memory of that trip at all, but I remember remembering that I went to SeaWorld. Does that make sense? So I don't actually remember being there, but I remember remembering that I went there. So I guess I went. I don't know. Well, that totally depends. It's not simply a matter of time. As I always say, it's amount over time. How much you use it over, an extended period of time. It's not just a matter of time. It doesn't mean that you can just wait and it's gonna happen. I was watching this this YouTube video about this guy explaining the situation in the U.S. about like their, all this tariff nonsense and the economy, how it affects the economy and everything. Because I wanna learn about it. And he was talking about some things, and he was getting down to the real fundamental of something, and he was just giving some other examples. And as he was giving other examples, he asked the viewer a very simple question. So how do you learn another language? He said that. And I said, oh, I know a little bit about that. And the answer was so simple. You use it every day. That's what he said. And he said it in a way that it was just a very, very plain piece of fact that nobody ever questions. And of course it is. Yeah, sure. And it was another very clear reminder that it's just so true. The way you learn another language, you use it every day. That's not the best way. That's not the fastest way. Do you know what it is? It's the only way. It's the only way. It's the only way to learn another language, to use it every day. Imagine that. Imagine that. If you ever got an offer from movie or TV production, would you be willing to take it? I'm serious. Please don't go. Me? You're not talking about me, are you? Why would I ever get an offer from a movie or a TV production, like an educational program? I guess that could be, like, somewhere down the line. That would be kind of cool, although I don't know if I would take that offer, but... I mean, a movie, depends, I guess. Depends what the project is. 근데 뭔가 생산적인 일 안 한 거 기분들 때 막 먹어야 써먹어야겠어요. It wasn't very yeah, didn't have a very productive day. Yeah, it's just one of those days, right? And you should pretend to be so too. You should pretend to be like one of them. You know what they say, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. That's actually a really good strategy. You just fake it. You pretend like you're a native speaker until you actually become one. Don't stress over it too much, you know what I mean? Oh, this is your first time tuning into the stream. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. Welcome, it's good to have you here. Hope we can see you more often in the future. 이수연님. Do you tend to push yourself and get things done anyway, even when you feel drained or exhausted? That's what I usually do. I usually push myself really hard, and I have a very high tolerance level for pain and suffering. I'm kind of really, I have a very high tolerance for pain and suffering. And yes, and sleep deprivation as well. I can go on without sleep. I can really push myself physically. Not as much as I used to, obviously, because I'm much older and weaker. But yes, I think I'm just born that way. No, it's not true. My English is nowhere near good as a native speaker. It depends on it depends on the perspective, I guess. I don't really have that much trouble engaging in just day-to-day conversation with native speakers. So in that sense, I guess you could say that, my English is good enough, but is it as good as a native speaker? No way. No way. If it were, that would be incredible, almost unbelievable, because I live in Korea. I spend all day, every day in Korea, and I have been since 1994. And to be as good as a native speaker, that would be insane. How could that be possible, actually? I mean, if you think about that. I've been in Korea, living in Korea every day, all day, every day, in Korea since 1994. And that's probably longer than, some of you have lived, right? I mean, look at this guy. This guy is 19 years old, right? And so if you, and it's kind of hard to imagine that my second language could be as good as a native speaker, right? That's kind of outrageous. Anyway, so it's 9 o'clock, you guys. Let's begin. Let's begin. I felt so exhausted, so I skipped something. I didn't want to skip speaking English with people. Well, you just try to do to the just try to do the best you can. Right? Are you extroverted or introverted, if you don't mind me asking? Of course I don't mind you asking. I am extremely introverted, but it depends on who I'm talking to. It depends what I'm doing. It depends on who I'm talking to. And you know what? I think it's exactly the same for everybody. I don't think, even if you believe that you are extremely introverted, there are some moments and there are some people that you become very extroverted towards. There are things you do when you become very extroverted, right? And so, when people tell me that they are extremely introverted, what that tells me is that they're not interested in everything. It just means they're interested in very few specific things. That's all that means to me. Just because someone is introverted doesn't mean that they don't like to talk at all. It's just that, they care about just fewer things. That's all. Okay, so are you gonna open a voice recording channel for today? I already have, and I just didn't drag it all the way up on the list. Okay, it's right there now. It's there now. So it's LA_0416. It's right there. But I don't know how much we're gonna need it today because, like I said, we're just gonna go over 8. It's just 8 sentences, just 8, not even 8 expressions, 8 sentences, because one of them is just like a word that we don't really use that often in our, in our lessons and in our streams. So, oh, you like my hat? Oh, that's great. I'm glad you like my hat. 쌤, 다음 주에 회사 특강 오시더라고요. 신청했어요. 인용인? Are you talking about the one in Yongin? Is that where you work? You actually work there? I had no idea I would be actually running into someone that I will be meeting at that event. No, I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Hello, teacher. Could you let me teach about how should I pronounce Lee words excitedly, exactly, and so on? How do I have to skip one letter in front of ly? So when you're trying to pronounce it, there is no fixed method. It depends on the word. And you shouldn't look for don't look for a pattern. So my advice is don't look for a pattern that you can expect from every word, every ly adverb. Okay, there's no fixed pattern. It all depends on the word. And so you just need to experience and just practice with the words respectively, each word respectively. You just have to go through the words. There's no fixed pattern. So okay. Okay, so there's one this Sunday that I'm doing in Daegu. It's not really a lecture. It's more like a talk. I'm just talking about the message that I'm trying to convey through my book. So it's mainly focused the events. I have 2 events coming up. One is on Sunday. One is on the 23rd, the following week, just 3 days after Sunday. And both of them are just focused on what I'm trying to tell people with my book. It's pretty much it. So. I've noticed that foreigners do a lot of small talk. I want to learn how to respond naturally, like how to react or show interest in a smooth way. Oh, okay, so think about this. How do you react or show interest in a smooth way? So, So I'm going to be very honest, okay? I don't think there's a good answer to this. I don't think everybody will give you the same answer. I don't think there's a such thing as an answer for this question, right? I think people will have different ways of doing that, right? So, but in my mind, being able to, okay, so let's say how to react or show interest in a smooth way. Does that mean, like, what does that mean? Are you asking me how you can lie? So, okay, I'm just going to be very honest. If you want to be able to react and respond appropriately in a natural way, you have to be good at the language. That's it. There is no other way. You have to be good you have to be good at speaking that language. If you're so to reverse that explanation, to talk about that in a different way, if you're not good at speaking that language, you cannot react or show interest in a smooth way. That's what I really believe. I'm sorry, this is probably disappointing to hear, but that's what I truly believe. I truly believe if you want to react or show interest in a smooth way, you have to be good at that language. Okay. All right, let's begin. Half an hour. We are going to end at 9:30. Where's my list? Okay. I want you to imagine that you are watching the news with someone. Okay? You're watching the news. You're watching the news about now it could be some celebrity or any kind of a public figure, someone who is famous. Now remember, popular and famous are different, okay? Just someone who is famous, who is well known, who is a public figure. It could be a celebrity or it could be anybody else, okay? Just a face and a name that most people know, a lot of people know, okay? And they're on the news because they have been caught doing something really shady. Does that make sense? They've been caught doing something really shady. What does that mean? What does it mean they've been caught doing something really shady? Shady? Dirty? Yeah, shady. Yeah, shady. Yeah, that's right. So they've been caught doing really shady stuff, okay? And so they were caught, and the investigation went underway, and all this stuff is coming out. Like, oh, like that person had been doing some really, really bad stuff, right? Okay. And it's just something new is just popping up every day. Like the next day, like you thought it would end by now, but it's just endless. Okay. And I guess as you are watching that on television, you may say something like this. You may say something like, how would you say this? Okay. So, okay, so that's good. It never ends. That's perfectly fine. But today, I want you to practice saying it like this. Where does it even end? Where does it even end? Ah, where does it even end? Where does it even end? Where does it even end? I'm not saying that this is the only way. Do I have to remind you again? There are always many, many ways that we can say one thing. It's never just one thing that we can say. There are always many, many ways. Today, I'm simply choosing for you to practice this. Okay? There's never an answer. There's always many, many ways to say one thing. Okay? Where does it even end? Where does it even end? Where does it even end? Okay. Next one. How would you say this? So the key expression here, we learned this. We learned this. The key expression we need to use here is get away with. The key expression we need to use is get away with, okay? Get away with something. Let's say it's a group of people, okay? Did they really think? Now, of course we could say believe. If you want to say believe, you could say believe, but think is fine. We can say think. Did they really think they could get away with that? Let's say all that. Because like I said, something is coming out every day, right? New stuff stuff is coming out every day through the investigation, and so there's been a lot of stuff that they've been doing, and so did they really think they could get away with all that? Did they really think they could get away with all that? Did they really think they could get away with all that? Oh, did they really think they could get away with all that? Where does it even end? Where does it even end? Did they really think they could get away with all that? Oh, you were writing that? That's right. Yes. Yes, we learned this. We learned this. Yeah. Where does it even end? Did they really think they could get away with all that? Um, This one is kind of hard. Oh, I found it. Do it moderately. Okay, so this is one of those expressions where you have to take a step back and just approach it in a completely different way. It's just, I don't think anybody's going to guess this. Now, remember, it's very important that you keep in mind the context that I gave you. All right, you're watching the news and you're watching about a group of people who have been caught doing some really shady stuff. And the further the investigation is going, the more and more stuff they're digging out. They've been doing some really, really bad stuff for a long time, okay? And in that situation, you say something like this. Okay? Anyway, so let me show you. They just never knew when to stop, did they? They just never knew when to stop, did they? They just never knew when to stop, did they? They just never knew when to stop, did they? Well, actually, Nikita, well, it's not always this. It's not, it's, okay, so it's not, you really have to take into account what the situation, what situation we're talking about, okay? So again, watching the news, people have been caught doing some really shady stuff, and the further in the yeah, it's really about context. So you can't really consider this as a one-to-one. It's not like it doesn't correspond to this exact sentence exactly all the time. So in Korean, what I'm trying to say is, in Korean, this expression 적당히 하다, this expression is used in a variety of ways, actually. It's used much more broadly. So anyway, so just remember the context that I gave you. In that situation, this is something that we would say when we want to say something like this, okay? Okay. However, in a lot of cases, 적당히 하다 and knowing when to stop, this actually works pretty well in a lot of cases. So knowing when to stop and 적당히 하다. I think the concept matches pretty well. Okay? Knowing when to stop. 적당히 하다. Okay? I think these two concepts, they match pretty well. Okay. Right. Okay, so hey, where does it even end? Did they really think they could get away with all that? They just never knew when to stop, did they? Now, if you look at this list of expressions, it could actually be a dialogue. Like this could actually be something that people are exchanging, right? They're watching television together and they're shaking their heads, and one is like, "Where does it even end?" And the next person says, "Did they really think they could get away with all that? They just never knew when to stop, did they?" So this is that. Okay. And oh, save it, please. Now this is when you're actually telling that someone. 야, 적당히 좀 해. And this is usually when you're suggesting that the person should stop talking. Just stop bringing up, the same thing again and again. Stop mentioning it. Stop saying the same thing. In that kind of situation, we would say, "Oh, save it." Yeah. It's usually when we're trying to get the person to stop talking or stop mentioning something. Okay. They really think. 먹는 거에서도 쓸 수 있냐고요? 적당히 먹어야 하는데 계속 먹는 사람. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Don't you know when to stop? Well, I think in a lot of cases, like it really depends on the situation. Yeah. It really depends. It doesn't, it doesn't sound very natural all the time. Okay. Okay, so next one. Okay, this one's easy. This one's really easy, actually. Even toddlers can probably get this right. Let's see. 무슨 생각이었던 거야? 무슨 생각이었을까? 무슨 생각으로? 무슨 생각으로? Or something like that. Okay, so in this case, the key is using the right tense. The key is using the right tense. It's what were they thinking? What were they thinking? What were they thinking? Okay, so when we're passing judgment on someone who has done something that they shouldn't have, okay? When we're suggesting that they shouldn't have done that, and so obviously we're not actually asking the question, right? This is a rhetorical question. 그죠? 수사 의문문이라고 하죠. 이런 걸 보고, 그렇죠? 책에 있는 내용과 상황을 모두 암기해서 바로바로 입으로 뱉을 정도로 외운다면 회화 가능할까요? 라이브 아카데미 책이요? 회화가 가능하냐고요? No. No. 가능하지 않아요. The answer, I'm sorry, but the answer is no. Unfortunately, it's not. Yeah. 저는 어떤 생각을 하냐면요. The way I see it, whatever it is you're trying to learn, like anything in the world, anything in life, anything that you can learn, right? Just no exceptions. You cannot fully become, you cannot be fully skilled in something just by reading just by memorizing everything in a single book. Does that make sense? There's no book that will give you the full scale of a skill or a full set of skills just from one book. Nuh-uh. That doesn't happen. You will never be that skilled in anything just by, mastering one book. That doesn't happen. 호주 이민 생각 중인데 영어 공부 어떻게 할까요? 수능 영어 1등입니다. Use it every day. Use English every day. Use it as much as you can every day. Use it as much as you can every day. From personal experience, Oh yeah, we remember you. Yeah, from personal experience, I've been learning Korean for 3 years, and my speaking skills are not as good as MT reading. MT reading? I'm not sure what MT. Oh, my reading. Okay, good as my reading or my listening because I didn't practice speaking. Yes, absolutely right. It's really simple actually. So whenever people ask about how do I improve my speaking, come on, just take a step back and ask that question. Yeah, you gotta do it a lot. You gotta do, yeah. Anyway, so what were they thinking? And the only reasonable thing, the only reasonable way we respond to this is what? What is usually the answer to this? Like, what is the obvious answer to this question, this rhetorical question? They weren't. They weren't. They probably weren't. What were they thinking? They probably weren't. This is probably the only like logical answer to this question, right? No, it's not sarcastic. It's it's not sarcastic at all, right? So if it, 무슨 생각으로 저랬을까? 생각을 안 한 거지. Right? That's what it is. 안 한 거, 생각을 안 한 거지. They probably weren't. 생각을 안 한 거지. Okay, so the next one, I'm really gonna have trouble saying this in Korean because I don't think this expression exists in Korean at all, actually. 자기 욕심에 못 이겼다? 자기 욕심에 못 이겼다라고 하면 무슨 뜻이죠? 자기 욕심에 못 이겼다? 갑자기 이 표현이 생각이 나는데 이게 무슨 의미죠? 자기 욕심에 못 이기다? 그게 욕심이 지나쳤다는 얘기인가요? 욕심 부려서 무리했다? 그게 말이 되나요? 근데 자기 욕심에 못 이겼다. 욕심 부리다가 오케이. 네, 약간 그게 정확히 맞는지는 모르겠는데 그런 의미로 쓰는 영어 표현이 있어요. 그러니까 풀어서 얘기를 하면은 욕심이 너무 과해서 결국은 그게 자기한테 돌아온 거. 오케이. 그래서 이게 지금 이 다음 거는 이 말에서 이어지는 걸 거예요. 그렇게 생각하면 좋을 것 같아요. They probably weren't. They probably weren't what? They probably weren't thinking. And their greed 가 어떻게 됐을까요? 혹시 이렇게 쓰면은 맞추시는 분 있을까? 저희가 한 번쯤은 아마 언급한 표현일 거거든요. Their greed eventually, yes, very good, got the better of them. They probably weren't thinking, and their greed eventually got the better of them. Their greed eventually got the better of them. Their greed eventually got the better of them. Saying that something got the better of someone, this is actually a very, very commonly used phrase in English. And I understand that you may have not heard this a lot, but usually what that means is you don't spend enough time consuming content in English. And even when you are, it probably means you're paying a little bit too much attention to just the captions or no, the subtitles. Okay? Because it's a very, very commonly used expression. And if you spend a lot of time consuming content in English, you can't miss this. Okay? You can't miss it. Anyway, so because I know for a fact that most content and products that have been created for English learners, Korean English learners, I don't know why exactly, but they don't often cover this. They don't often use this expression in their examples or in their dialogues. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they don't really have a way of explaining this or something, but it's a very commonly used expression, okay? So they probably weren't thinking, and their greed eventually got the better of them. So basically, it means their greed went a little too far, right? That's basically what it means.
Did they really think they could get away with all that?
Yeah, did they really think they could get away with all that?
Where does it even end?
Yeah, where does it even end?
Did they really think they could get away with all that?
Yeah.
Did they really think they could get away with all that? They just never knew when to stop, did they?
Yeah, they just never knew when to stop, did they?
Where does it even end?
Mm-hmm.
Did they really think they could get away with all that? They just never knew when to stop, did they? What were they thinking?
Yeah, what were
Their
they
greed
thinking?
eventually got the better of them.
Yeah, what were they thinking? Well, they probably weren't. And their greed eventually got the better of them.
They probably weren't, and their greed eventually got the better of them.
Yeah, and so when you're reading this, their greed eventually, yeah, I guess you kind of say the D because of the E. Okay, it kind of moves over to the next word. So their greed eventually. Okay, yeah. So their greed eventually got the better of them. Okay, so let's just go over the ones that we've done so far. Where does it even end? Did they really think they could get away with all that? They just never knew when to stop, did they? What were they thinking? What were they thinking? They probably weren't. And their greed eventually got the better of them. She was defeated by her greed. You could, but there's a much better way to say that. There's a much better way to say that, so I recommend this, okay? I guess, when you say it like that, people will kind of get it, but it just sounds so much more natural and better to say this. Okay, so they probably weren't thinking, and their greed eventually got the better of them. Okay, so just a couple more. Just a few more. 지네들이 엄청... I'm not sure about this word. 인줄 알았겠지? I'm not... What is this in Korean? 그냥 똑똑하단가? 잘난 줄? 오. 치밀한. 뭐 사실 뭐 여러 가지가 올 수 있어요. 여러 가지가 올 수 있을 것 같은데 영리하다. 똑똑한 줄, 천재인 줄, 잘난 줄. Okay. But the word I want to use here is sly. 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 What is sly? Are you guys familiar with this word? Sly. 뭐 지금 나오고 있는 얘기들을 다 합치면 뭐 대충 슬라이 뜻인 것 같아요. 예. 약삭 발음. 약삭 바른 거 좋다. 약삭 바른 거. I like this one. 미끌미끌. Okay. This makes sense. 미끌미끌한 것도 괜찮은데 I like 약삭 발음. 약삭 발음. I like that. 미끌미끌하고 약삭 바른 거요. Slimy. Anyway, so sly. They must have thought they were so sly. They must have thought they were so sly. Sup, my man? Hey, sup, man? What's up? What's going on? What's going on? How goes it? They must have thought they were so sly. They must have thought they were so sly. Yeah, they must have thought they were so sly. 자, 그러다가 위험 수준에 너무 가까이 다가선 거. 그럴 때 쓰는 수거가 하나 있죠. 위험 수준에 너무 가까이 다가가는 거에 대해서 얘기할 때 그때 쓰는 수거가 하나 있어요. sneaky, 그러니까 뭐 sly에 sneaky가 포함되어 있다고 생각하시면 돼요. So you can just sly is a combination of different things, and one of them is sneaky. So sly is like a combination of sneaky, very calculative, and very clever and careful, and very smart. But at the same time, it's like a snake, you know? Yes, that's kind of what sly is. Yeah. Okay, so 이거요. 지금 얘기하고 있는 거, 지금 너무 위험 수준에 너무 가까이 가는 거. 힌트를 하나 드리자면 fly. fly. Yes. Fly to the hell. Fly to the sun. 하면 벌써 다 나왔죠? 자, 이 말 어떻게 쓰는 거예요? Fly to the sky. 어떻게 쓰는 거죠? Fly to the moon. 오케이. 이 사람이 하는 말에 약간 대꾸하듯이 쓰자면 Yep. And flew a bit too close to the sun. And flew a bit too close to the sun. Yeah. They must have thought they were so sly. Yep, and flew a bit too close to the sun. Flew. Yeah, flew. 아깝다요? 아니요. 아깝다는 아니고요. 그 정도가 그러니까 그 너무 자신만만하다가 자기도 이제 감당할 수 없는 수준의 위험선을 넘었다라는 얘기를 할 때 And flew a bit too close to the sun. They must have thought they were so sly. Yep. And flew a bit too close to the sun. 아슬아슬했다? No. No. 이게 결국에 하고 싶은 얘기는 뭔가가 그러니까 risk taking 있죠. risk taking. 그 위험을 무릅쓰는 거. 그 정도가 너무 과했다는 얘기예요. 결국에는. 죽으려고 영어를 쓰네. A little bit different, I think. A little bit different. 또 하나의 그 한국어로 떠오르는 표현이 정도껏 하지 못하고 그 정도가 조금 너무 심해진 거. 그걸 얘기를 하는 것 같아요.
They must have thought they were so sly.
They must have thought, yeah.
They must have thought they were so sly.
Must have thought. They must have thought. Must 이 여기서 쌍디귿 발음이 들리면서 넘어가는 게 좋아요. 이게 must have thought가 이 쌍디귿이 들려야 돼요. Must have. Must 이 v까지는 안 나도 돼요. 근데 쌍디귿은 들려야 돼요. Must have thought. They must have thought. 이렇게는 들려야 돼요. They must have thought. They must have thought they were so sly. Yep. And flew a bit too close to the sun. 결국엔 다 비슷한 얘기예요. 지금 다 비슷한 얘기예요. 다 같은 상황을 보면서 지금 하는 얘기잖아요. 그죠? Where does it even end? Where does it 끝도 없네. Where does it even end? 끝도 없네. Did they really think they could get away with all that? 저러고도 무사할 줄 알았나? Did they really think they could get away with all that? They just never knew when to stop, did they? What were they thinking? They probably weren't. And their greed eventually got the better of them. They must have thought they were so sly. Yep, and flew a bit too close to the sun. 뭐 하나의 대화라고 볼 수도 있겠네요, 심지어. 그러니까 뭔가 지금 벌어지는 일을 보고 계속 지금 코멘트를 하는 거죠. They're just commenting on what it is they're watching, okay? All right, last one. 마지막이요. 이거랑 비슷해요. 제가 개인적으로 제일 좋아하는 수거 같은 수거? 이것도 약간 수거 같죠? Okay, it's like an idiomatic phrase. 그렇죠? It's like an idiomatic phrase. Flew too close to the sun. Right? 이거랑 아주 비슷한 게 또 하나 있어요. 위험 근데 이 두 번째 거는 그 위험을 무릅쓰는 일을 너무 하다 보면은 결국에는 당하게 돼 있다. 약간 이런 느낌이 있어요. 위험한 일을 너무 많이 하다 보면 결국에는 당하게 돼 있다. 약간 그런 느낌에 쓰는 말이 있어요. It's like a idiomatic. It's an idiomatic phrase that I personally really like. Anyway, 뭐 it's 그쵸? 뭐 맞추기는 거의 불가. I'll just show you. 원래는 F가 원래는 이게 쓰이거든요. 근데 여러분이 연습을 하기에 더 수월하시라고. 물론 어떤 사람들은 이게 더 수월할 수도 있지만. You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns. You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns. You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns. bull는 소의 고환이냐고요? No. bull는 황소예요. 황소. Oh, you're thinking of balls. 고환을 얘기할 때 you're thinking of you're thinking of ball. No, not bull. 그 농구팀 중에 시카고 bulls 있죠? 시카고 bulls. 심한 욕이냐고요? 어떻게 쓰이느냐에 따라 달라요. 어떻게 쓰이느냐에 따라 달라요. 네. 근데 fuck 정도면은요. 뭐 욕이라고 너무 흔히 쓰이기 때문에 너무 흔히 쓰이기 때문에 그 뭐 욕이라고 하기도 좀 그래요. Chicago Bulls. Anyway, so you fuck with the bull, you eventually get the horns. You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns. 이거는 이렇게 목소리를 내면서 얘기를 해야 돼요. 한번 들려주세요, 여러분. 디스코드에 계신 분들. You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns. Capiche? 황소 건드리면 결국 뿔에 받치지. Okay, so that's like almost a literal translation, right? Yes. Yes. 제가 시키는 대로 하세요. Yes. You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns. Yeah. 이거의 발음은 그렇게 돼야 돼요. Yeah.
You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns.
Alright, see? See? 이렇게 해야 진심인 것 같다니까요. 이걸 이걸 이렇게 정정하게 읽을 거예요. You mess with the bull. You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns. You're not gonna say it like this, right?
You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns.
Okay. A little bit too nice. A little bit too nice. You should be try to say it. Try to be meaner. Try to be meaner. You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns.
You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns.
That's right. Where does it even end? Did they really think they could get away with all that? They just never knew when to stop, did they? What were they thinking? They probably weren't, and their greed eventually got the better of them. They must have thought they were so sly. Yep, and flew a bit too close to the sun. You fuck with the bull, you eventually get the horns.
You mess with the bull, you eventually get the horn.
Yeah, you eventually get the horns.
You're fucking with the bull, you eventually get the horns.
That's right. Curiosity got the better of me. I don't know who you are. Liam Neeson? Liam Neeson? Okay, so that's it. 50분까지 해버렸네. Oh man, we're overtime. Hey, where does it even end? Did they really think they could get away with all that? They just never knew when to stop, did they? What were they thinking? They probably weren't. And their greed eventually got the better of them. They must have thought they were so sly. Yep, and flew a bit too close to the sun. Mess with the bull, you eventually get the horns. Okay, alright, that's it. Their greed eventually got the better of them. Yeah, that's right. Eventually. That's right. Whoa.
Midnight again. I've been lying in my bed. Can't get you out of my head. You've been taking me for a spin. Ain't got the time. I've been chasing you around, chasing you around. I've been waiting right behind. Ain't got a peace of mind. Gotta know that I've been chasing you around, chasing you around. It's midnight again. I've been lying in my bed. Ain't got no time. Ain't got no love.
잠깐만. 아까 약삭빠르다였어요? 얍삽빠르다. 약삭빠르다? 약삭빠르다? 뭐였지? 얍삽? 얍삽하다? 얍삽빠르다? 약삭빠르다? 얍삽하다. 약삭빠르다? 아, 오케이.
I've been chasing you around, chasing you around. I've been waiting right behind. Ain't got a peace of mind.
위험을 무릅쓰다. 위협을 무릅쓰다. 위험을 무릅쓰다.
Tell me where I stand. I keep on losing this game. Some things will never change. I keep on playing fair.
Okay. That's it. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in today. I hope these expressions help you express how you feel when something like this happens. Okay? Hopefully, you never have to use this. However, that's life, right? Life happens. Sometimes we gotta say it. So, thanks for tuning in today. Have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you all hopefully very soon in a future live stream or in a future lesson video. Have a great rest of your night.
Peace of mind. And I know that I've been chasing you around, chasing you around. See, I've been chasing you.
Come on, darling, dance with me. Let me show you what I'm about. I could be your honeybee. You know you make me scream and shout. To the top of the hills we'll be free. A kiss like no one's watching, just to wait and see. I could be your mystic blue. You could be my only muse. Let's take a chance, no